Hello there, and welcome to another episode of This Is My Story. My name is Joy Mochache, and I'll be your host. Well, for today, we have a very interesting and encouraging episode that we are going to be hearing. And my guest is going to introduce himself and tell us exactly why he feels that his story is something that he can share and something that he feels can change the lives of others. Without any further ado, let us begin our interview by our guest introducing himself.
Thank you so much, Joy. My name is Evangelist Peter Michael Irongo, or rather Peter Michael Maina Irongo. My dad is called David Irongo. I hail from Moranga, in the highlands of Moranga, a village called Kianderi, sub-location. And I pastor with a church called All Nations Center of Revival. And we have a college called Kaleo College, and we also have a chapel where I minister as an evangelist, and that is how I am. And I am a father of three. I have one wife, Jane Jerry Maina, and three children, one boy and two girls, Anne, Brian, and Ivy Modoni. Thank you so much.
I see. And I assume that they'll be excited to see this episode soon, yes?
Excited to see this episode. They are waiting with curiosity. And I think God is going to help us to go through my life, who had been characterized with so many ups and downs. But all the same, I've seen the inconceivable love of God. Thank you.
Amen to that. And exactly that's why we wanted to have you on this show, because you have, like you said, gone through some ups and downs, kwa hii maisha, and you're still standing. You're even better than you were in the past. And we want to hear exactly how you became the man that you are now, and how the experiences you went through shaped that. Why don't we begin by you starting to tell us where you saw that your life imeanza kubadilika?
My most interesting part of my life is when I've been battling with bipolar disorder. Okay. It is a mental problem that is characterized with withdrawing from normal behavior, and you are put on drugs to control the problem, and some people end up without even recovering. Mine, I thank God, because for the ordeal of 2 decades, more than 2 decades, I can do all any normal person can do. It's only when it is active that is when I am not able to do what normal people can do.
I see.
Thank you.
When it's active, you said?
Yes, when it is active, when bipolar is active.
I see. Okay, Sasa, maybe for our audience who, some of them may be listening, but they don't understand what bipolar is, do you mind briefly explaining what exactly you had to go through when it was active?
The symptoms, you have abnormal behaviors. You have, spirits and hallucinations, and you are uneasiness, and you are not able to do what you are supposed to do. You see, you are doing many things that are awkward. They are unfortunate. But all the same, it is controllable. It is also treatable, because as for my case, I take stabs and shots for controlling it, and I thank God for His work, which I've seen in my life, because were it not for God, I couldn't have reached where I've reached today.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, now that you've taken us to our next point, I'll go with that. So where Mungu amekutoa wapi exactly? When bipolar came into your life and changed everything about how you carry yourself as a man, how did that exactly affect you negatively? What were you doing?
Okay, let me start with my way of my upbringing. I grew up in a Christian home. My dad is a retired lay reader, and I remember when I was coming to Christ in 1997, I was praying. The Bible says, teach your child in the way he should go, and when he is grown, he will not depart from it. That is Proverbs 22, verse 6. And I remember how I grew fearing God. Okay. I was a Sunday school pupil, for that matter, and we were taught how to obey the 10 Commandments. I remember I used to recite some of them in the congregation. And but when I grew up, that's how I grew in sin. I departed from the way I should go, because I remember it was unfortunate, because wazazi wangu walijaribu wawezavyo niwe mtu ambaye anakubalika mbele za Mungu na mbele za watu. But all of a sudden I was carried by peers groups, and I started doing queer things which were not expected. So my parents did not expect me to be rude, and I was rude. My parents were not expecting me to be disobedient, because I remember when I was working with a certain company, when I get money, I was going to drink. I could drink the whole night. I could even try to smoke marijuana. And I think that is where my problem started, because I remember when I was in school, I just inhaled marijuana twice, and all of a sudden things were different. Things were not the same again, because I caused chaos in the school. Fortunately, it was on a weekend, so the teachers were not around. I could have been expelled. And from the view of the doctors, when I got bipolar disorder, they were referring back to my time when I was taking drugs. You can see I don't have front legs, teeth. Oh, yeah. This had been caused by much taking of cigarettes for 10 years, and drinking beer, and also chewing miraa. Oh. I used to be a miraa chewer. So they affected my health so much.
Okay, I see. And I think I heard you saying something very interesting. You tried the marijuana twice only, and then your life completely changed.
Yes.
Just from that.
Yes.
And that's when the bipolar symptoms
started.
This just started.
Yes.
Are you saying on the same day?
Yes, it was the same day, because the moment
you smoked it in one day, and the same day
it started.
Something happened in your brain.
Yes. All of a sudden I started seeing things going round and round, overturning things. I caused a lot of chaos in the school. I started molesting the Form 1s and Form 2s, because I was in Form 3 by then. That was in 1988.
1988?
Yes. Wow. So my colleagues were not able to know what has happened, because all of a sudden I've started misbehaving in such a manner that was not expected. And it just went on for 2 days. Then I was calm.
Then you were calm?
Yes.
Okay, I see. Okay, and I remember you told me briefly your life was never the same after that, because now you have to live with a condition called bipolar, because of that one fateful day. You made that choice many years ago.
Many years ago.
To try that marijuana, and now, up to now, you're suffering that effect.
Sure.
Of those drugs.
It's the consequences.
The consequences.
Because another person said you can choose sin, but you cannot choose the consequences of sin.
That's very true.
So it occurred on the year 2000, but it started with depression. this time round. So it's happened that in the church I was in, we just disagreed with another brother, and he came to Christ before me. So I was fearing now to ask him the questions why he's mistreating me. And it so happened that as we are trying to fellowship together, he just passed on to the elders and said that I've done something wrong, a sin that is. So it is like character assassination.
Character assassination.
Yes, because I didn't do whatever he said.
Sure.
So it started that I started withdrawing from him, trying as much as I can not to be in his company. But I could not, because he seemed to be my spiritual father. So I find all the time we are together, and I'm trying to avoid him. So I started losing esteem. So, and I remember I told another brother that I'm suffering because of him, of that brother. But he never took whatever I was saying seriously. So it happened that as you are moving on with the fellowship, I saw that it is going to an extent that I'm not controlling my anger. So I'm losing my temper. I could literally vomit when I saw him.
Wow.
Yes.
Quite a lot of resentment.
I started losing appetite because each and every time I was thinking about him. So I started what we call self-condemnation. I started condemning myself. I asking myself, now, what have I done? I've not done anything wrong, but this guy is claiming that I've done something wrong. And it happened that in the year 2000, we are gathered together in a convention that was organized by East Africa Revival Fellowship in Thogoto. And the word was taken from John chapter 8, where the word says, I'm the light of the world. Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. He who comes after me will not go back into darkness. So I saw as if this word was directed to me. I took as if it was God now condemning me. So this was how Satan took the advantage of showing me that I'm not yet saved. So at the end of the meeting, the altar call as usual was called. And I just showed up to the dais and I started making straight things. I started confessing things that I did in the past life before I got saved. Okay. The in-birth corruption, how I used to, drink, how I used to smoke. And I said that I had not made things straight when I got saved in 1997. Remember, I told you in 1997, that's when I came to Christ.
You got born again in 1997?
Yes, I got born again in 1997 as I was praying. And this time round, I'm confessing things that I could have confessed by then. This was a confusion. I was sick, but I didn't know that I was sick. By the moment I woke up, I was still sick when I went to the dais, to the platform, and confessed those sins. So I was not received well in a positive manner by my elders in the church, because they saw, now Michael is born again. How come when people are coming here for their conversion for the first time, he came too? But you see, they concluded that maybe they have done something wrong. There's a sin I've committed. So they just confirmed, oh, and we are told by our brother here that he had done something. Oh, so they just concluded that it is true that I've fallen into sin. And that's when things turned around in my life.
Okay.
Because at this point, because I'm not received, I was trying to clear myself, but now I'm received in a negative way. What do I do? It was so terrible. I saw as if the world has come to an end, because nobody could have received me as a brother now. You can imagine you are trying to make yourself better, but now you have been received in a negative way.
Exactly, you've been rejected by the
So
people.
I could not sleep during the night. I got this thing you call insomnia, and eating became a problem, a major problem. Because I remember when we were gathered with a party in the year 2000, December, at home. I remember they had prepared a very delicious meal, but I could not eat. I just took 2 spoons. And my sister said, I can't cook food, and I see people who I'm cooking for refusing the food. You eat the food that I have prepared, or else you are not part of my party. So I tried to force myself, but I vomited everything. This is the scenario that I passed through. So remember I told you that when I saw that my brothers are not receiving me in a positive way, I could not handle that. So I tried to look for an alternative. So I just keep quiet to defend myself.
You stay silent.
I was mute. I was not doing anything. I was sitting like this
Okay.
from morning to evening. The other day, same. And my parents now looked and saw that they can not help my situation because I'm not even talking. I'm not speaking. I'm motionless. I'm refusing to do anything. And this was the influence of the disease. Now it started intensifying.
Okay.
Because these are some of the symptoms that you see in bipolar, withdrawing from normal behavior. So they just took me to the hospital.
Okay.
And we went to Moranga Hospital, and when we reached there, and the doctors tried to diagnose my problem, they couldn't.
They couldn't diagnose you?
They couldn't.
How come?
Now I'm mute. I'm not
You're
doing
not
anything.
talking,
I'm
you're not cooperating with the doctors. Okay.
You see?
Okay.
So they referred me to Mathari Mental Hospital.
Sure.
That is where the journey of my treatment started.
Okay, at
So
Mathare.
at Mathare now, I was put on ECT, electroconvulsant therapy.
Electroconvulsive therapy.
Yes, it was done thrice a week.
What does that do to someone?
You are paralyzed, and then you are induced with a very high voltage.
A voltage of electricity?
Yes, that's what I understand.
Wow. In the brain?
That's why it is called electro something, electroconvulsant therapy.
Wow.
In the
okay.
brain, to strike the brain.
Okay.
Maybe the specialist can explain better.
Okay.
And it was done thrice a week. It was done for 3 weeks, and I started responding.
For 3 weeks, you were not responding at all. You were
It
mute.
it was for about a month. Now the ACT started after a week when I stayed at Mathare. So I started responding, and without any problem, I was back now to normal condition. So you see, back home, when everybody heard that I've responded in the villages, the parents, the family, they gathered to to celebrate.
Wow.
Because they didn't have anything to do with their son, because whatever they had seen, nobody had seen such a condition before. And
They were all
the
shocked.
people of God prayed for me.
Wow.
They just, it was so nice to see people rejoicing and thanking God because of restoring to my condition, normal condition.
I see.
Sure.
Okay. So after you were restored to your normal condition, did things in your life now start getting better? What happened after that? Were you able to now lead a normal life?
Yes.
After the treatment at Mathare?
Yes, I was able to live a normal life. That was the year 2000. In November, that's when I was in hospital. And I stayed for close to 2 months in the hospital. And I left the hospital after 2 months, and I went back to work. I was working with a certain Indian at town Nairobi as a shop attendant.
A shop attendant.
Yes. And it so happened that I looked and see now, this, I didn't have any problem. I could not agree or accept that I was sick. That was the main problem. So I skipped taking drugs that I was given. So after 6 to 8 months, the problem occurred again. So I was in the same state, mute, because I cannot perceive the reality of the matter. Because remember, the brother who we had disputed with, we have not come to reason together.
I see.
And the church is not receiving me. But maybe this was not true. Maybe it is me who was saying that they are not receiving me. That was the most dangerous thing.
Wow.
It was so unfortunate because maybe I could see two people studying. When I reached there, they kept quiet. I would assume that they were speaking about me.
Yes.
Any preacher would go onto the pulpit and start, giving the sermon and saying the word was saying that there are people who had been living in darkness. They need to repent. So I was attributing the same sentiment to me, that I'm supposed to repent.
Wow.
And it happened for 8 years.
8 good years.
Yes.
My goodness.
Until when I saw now, no, it can't be true. I need to speak out. Because the problem reoccurred for the next 6 years. I was hospitalized in Mathare from 2000 to 2006 until when God said this is enough.
Enough.
Enough is enough. And I remember this lady who was in the church who prayed, and I received that prayer. That God, we want to see the breakthrough of this matter once and for all. And as she prayed this prayer and received this prayer, it was like I saw things turning around for better. Because I was able to express myself and to say my problem. And I sought the elders and told them about our dispute with that brother, and we tried to sort it out. So by this time, he said that he's not aware of any claim that I'm making. And my brethren also said that they have forgiven me if I did. I forgive them if there are something that I attributed to them that they didn't see, they didn't say. And they started making things straight now. That was 2006.
2006.
2006, that's when I had a call for hospital visitation. I started visiting the sick in the hospitals.
Wow. That's good.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, I had been involved in hospital visitation in Nairobi Hospital for quite a long time, and also in Kenyatta Hospital, in pastoral clinical care. And I thank God because I was touched with my suffering.
I see. And before we go any further, I'd like us to take a short break right here where you were touched by that suffering. And when we come back, we shall continue on that point.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to views@look-up.tv. We can't wait to hear from you.
Welcome to Look Up Guest House Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we will be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable, and worthwhile experience. Here at Look Up Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room amenities. A cool environment for all your retreat activities.
Look Up Guest House Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 788 707. Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542
700 893 542
or email us on sales@look-up.tv. Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now.
Welcome to the Natural Juicing Center. We are a unique organization that seeks to provide the community with an alternative healthcare option. We specialize in the use of a natural holistic system that focuses on building health through cleansing and nourishing of the body. We utilize a variety of natural health promoting methods in our services, which include juicing therapy, hydrotherapy, colon cleansing, massage therapy, and a comprehensive cleansing service, among others. Our juices are freshly made and tailored to each and every client's individual needs after evaluation by our team through our free consultation service. You can now book for any service or order for food supplements on our website www.naturaljuicingcenter.co.ke. You can also visit our center in Kahawa Sukari, house number 1334, Kahawa Sukari Avenue. Natural Juicing Center. Your health is your wealth.
Welcome back from that brief break. Remember, you've been watching This Is My Story with me, Joy Mochache. And remember that our host for today is Evangelist Peter, who has illustrated to us that he has gone through some problems with bipolar, but at the end of the day, and addiction. But then at the end of the day, God came and pulled him out of those problems. And speaking of God, I hear that he has a ministry that he would like to share with us. And then from then on, we shall hear about the rest of his life. Let's continue.
Thank you so much.
How about you
Joy.
hear about this ministry?
This ministry came from very far. It comes from suffering, and it is called Humbled by Scars Transformation Ministry.
Humbled by Scars Transformation Ministry.
Yes. The scars that I have, both spiritually and physically, can tell us more about it. And I was led to call it Humbled by Scars because I was humbled by God through the suffering that I passed through. Allow me to go back to my story
Yes.
because I didn't even mention the ordeal that I passed through, because sometimes I could strip naked.
You would strip naked sometimes.
Yes, sometimes.
As a result of the bipolar.
As a result of bipolar.
Okay.
I would be violent. I remember one time when I was being taken to the hospital, and I was so violent I couldn't be handled by anybody. When I was caught, I was tied with ropes, both hands and legs, because whenever I tried to get somebody, I could, hit. And I remember when I was seated on the front seat of a pickup, and I saw that I don't have any more energy to do anything to come out of the ropes that I was tied with. I just smashed the front screen with my head.
Wow.
Yes, it was smashed all over.
Wow. With your head?
Yes.
Eh.
And I was taken to that in that condition until when we reached the hospital, Mathari Hospital. And I remember I stayed for 5 hours being tired. Now the blood is not rotating. I was feeling pain. I was in distress.
Yes.
And I remember one person, I asked him to untie me. And he told me, you are going to, attack me. So I can't untie you.
You were tied up.
I was tied up, yes. So
That was the extent of your violence.
that was my extent of my
They had to tie you
They
up.
had to tie me.
Wow.
You can remember the man who was in Decapolis. He was being tied with ropes and
Yes.
chains. And he could just remove them off. That's how I was.
Wow.
And I thank God for everything that happened to me, because I was touched with compassion, and I started that ministry of rehabilitating youth who are caught up with drugs and alcoholism. And we've been doing good, and I thank God, because there are people, people say you cannot force people to do what they want, but you cannot underrate or underestimate the power of planting a seed. So I've seen people, young youth, who have spoken to them, and they have been rehabilitated.
Amen.
I thank God for that,
Yeah.
because it motivates me. So I remember also when I was doing the ministry that he started in 2006, I saw that now I need to do something more. I started hospital visitation in a program called Pastoral Clinical Care. And I remember I mentioned that has been in Nairobi Hospital, Kenyatta Hospital, and Kimkan Hospital, and now in Murang'a, that is Maranja Hospital. Yeah.
Okay, I see. And I hear that you've told me your ministry that rehabilitates young people came from the fact that you were once an addict at some point.
Yes.
Ukajiona ni kama your purpose now is to help those who are in the same who are in the shoes that you used to be in,
Yes,
that you have now been removed from by God.
Yes.
And what happened next in your life? Did God bless you with a family perhaps, or what occurred at this point?
Okay, all through, since I got this problem when I was almost 30. In that age, I was not married. And in the church that I was in, or the movement that I was in East Africa Revival Fellowship, you are not allowed to approach a lady to ask matters on courtship.
You're not allowed?
You are not allowed. So
you're not allowed to approach a lady to to ask about courtship.
Yes.
That's an interesting church.
Yes. You are supposed to go and inform the elders, and you tell them that you have prayed and you have received answer to the girl that you are intending to start courtship process, or to marry for that matter. And from there they will take over. They will just approach the lady and tell them there is so and so who is seeking your attention on this matter. So
if you want to spend the rest of your life with a particular lady you're interested in, you cannot approach them, you can't take them for coffee. You leave it to...
You cannot.
You cannot. They're the ones that match you together.
Yes,
they plan you together.
They plan everything.
How long were you in this church?
I was in this church for before I started the relation.
How long were you attending this church?
For 3 years.
For 3 years.
3 years.
Okay.
So.
And you didn't find anything strange by those rules? I have to ask. You didn't find those rules a bit strange?
They were strange, but I think what I was receiving from the movement was helping me more than,
okay,
what I was expecting to receive.
Sure, okay, Sawa.
So, and when I took my message to the elders, they told me that I have established a lady, I've seen a lady, you have prayed. I was saying, yes, I have prayed. So they took a message to the lady, and this time around, she declined. She said that she is not. So you understand the language.
Yes.
It's not Jesus. Jesus has not spoken to the lady that you can start marital process with her. And I took yet another lady, and she just declined.
The next one declined also?
Yeah, also, yes.
Okay.
Remember this time now, I'm facing stigmatization.
Sure.
Somebody who is walking naked.
Right.
And he's seeking my friendship.
Yes, of course.
Now, it was not possible. So this one was another area that I suffered most.
Relationships.
Rejection.
Right.
Rejection. So the self-esteem, low self-esteem increased. And I was asking myself, I have a notebook. I sometimes try to refer where I've come from, because I remember I was putting down those things. How I was arguing with God, asking God like Job, where are you, God? Why am I passing all this? Why do you allow people to reject me? And yet I'm your child. I remember the one I put, if I am your child, how have you allowed this if I am your child? I'm declaring now, tell me. No, you see, I was challenging God, but God is sovereign. And He allows things to happen to us in order to mold us. Because in James chapter 1 verse 2 says, blessed are those who endure trials. And these were the trials that was coming on my way. And I remember I went on with suggesting ladies up to 11th lady. And now, you know, time is moving. I started from 2002,
11.
2002 until 2006. I'm proposing, I'm declaring. You see?
You said 11 times.
Yes.
You got rejected 11 times.
Yes.
Wow.
I was confident that God, you give me my wife, the one who he has ordained to be my wife. So I was given permission to go outside because you could not have proposed a lady outside the church. That sect, that movement.
It's another rule that you have to propose to someone within that church.
Within that church.
So all the ladies, 11 of them within that church,
Yes.
rejected your proposal,
Yes,
at
yes,
which point
rejected.
you are now given permission to look for a lady outside of that church.
Yes.
Okay.
And at this time, I remembered that I had befriended a lady before I got saved. And we had born a child with her.
Okay.
But you see, even me, I have rejected her because she had another child. So it was like the way guy says, I can't marry a lady who is having another child. So I traced her number, and we started planning how we can reconcile. And that is how we did our courtship, helped by my cousin, who's called Makamuru. And our wedding was done in 2008 on December 13th.
December 13.
Yes, and we started the life together. She had another child called Anne, and the child I bore to her is called Brian. So you see, life started now as a man and a wife, and two children.
Wonderful.
And after that, we were blessed with another girl called Ivy Bondoni.
Ivy
She's in
Modoni.
class 5. I love her so much.
The last born.
The last born.
Oh, the last.
She has encouraged me because you remember Joseph. He had two children who he called Manasseh and Ephraim.
Yes.
He had a child who he said that God has helped him to forget his suffering. His suffering. So this girl reminds me that I have forgotten the suffering.
Oh.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's a touching story.
Yes.
So then, there's a point you mentioned that your life began as a family, but you had initially rejected the son
Yes.
that you had given the lady you were with.
Yes.
So how would you describe your relationship with him now after you had rejected him?
Our relationship is awesome.
It's awesome.
Because he forgave me. I told him the story, the whole story, the truth of the matter, that I was refusing your mother because she had another child.
You told him?
Yes, I told him the truth of the matter. He's
Yeah.
a grown-up. He's now doing his last semester next month.
Okay.
He's doing agro-business. He's a grown-up person. And I remember her mother was telling me that he kept on asking her, where is my dad? Where is my dad? And, you can see he was also eager to know his dad.
Yes, he was. He was eager to know his dad. And your relationship is fine now?
Yes, our relationship is awesome, yes.
Yes, and you shared with me that he wanted to get your name.
Yes,
He
that's
was-
what he had been working on.
Yeah.
And I allowed him. If he continues, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Yes, because he's claiming that could have been his name, the name of my father.
Okay. He loves you that much, eh?
Yes.
And as we move on, your marriage, was everything fine after you started family life, or did you ever experience another episode with bipolar?
Okay. Oh, sorry. my journey or the battle with bipolar kept or recurred on 2016. This time around, my wife had not seen me with a problem because when we were together, when I had not married her, I didn't have any problem. Remember, I got saved in 1997.
Yes.
And in 1997, that's when we are friends. So 2 years after, or 1996, 1 year after that is when I got saved. And I didn't have any problem. Now I'm in problem in 2016. And I started misbehaving, arguing with her for no reason. I remember I even beat her up. And she saw that, she's not understanding that I have a problem. And she's saying that everything is normal, it's just a normal disagreement. So she packed and just went. She went to her home.
After you were violent with her?
Yes, after I was violent. The home of her parents.
Okay.
And when I saw this, I just took the drugs that I take. We take harbalidos and Tegretors and Athens. I just took them all at once. 54 tablets in whole.
You took 54 tablets at once?
54 tablets. Yes, I wanted to get finished. By this time the problem was active. But I didn't know, and nobody knew. I was taken to the hospitals, and I was induced on vomiting. And that is how I was rescued now from suicide attempt. And they tried their best. The doctors tried their best to help me recover.
Right, to bring the medicine out of your system.
Yes.
Right. Wow, that was a suicidal attempt.
Suicidal attempt, yes.
Wow. How many times have you attempted suicide?
Once.
Just that one time?
Only that once.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so after that happened, you said your wife was away for a year. She went back to her home after your violence.
She went back to her home.
Yeah.
But after some negotiations, we reconciled. And she forgave me and she came back to my home.
You reconciled?
Yes, we are reconciled.
That's amazing. That's good. So everything was fine at home again?
Yes, everything is at home is fine. Very fine.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Now, when we're talking about everything that God has put you through, as we're now seeing your life changing, I think you traveled to Uganda in 2019
Yes, I was in Uganda.
To tell your story. Let's touch briefly on that, and then we can talk about how the message you would like to spread about the life you've gone through. Let's start with your visit to Uganda.
Yes, my visit to Uganda 2019 August was so dramatic because there were some people who were coming from US, and I've been invited by Pastor Sila, who's in Uganda. He's my friend. We met on Facebook.
I see.
So he had organized a very big crusade. And at the same time, he was redeeming his marriage. So he attached those things together, those events together. And we went there, and I gave my testimony the first day. And a lot of people were touched so much.
Wow. Amen.
Some people, you could see that waving knee like this, and we met some people who were drinking this stuff, illicit brew, and I gave them my testimony. And I told them, were it not for the drugs I was taking, I would have been with my teeth.
Your teeth would all be there.
Yeah, my teeth would be all there. And I told them the dangers of taking those things, those alcohols and drugs. And I remember one gave his life to Christ. Now, as I was dropping, I was moving, I was stopped by one of them and told me, "You didn't ask me to get saved. I also need to get saved, like my brother and like you." So I prayed on his behalf, and he got saved. So I thank God for taking me to Uganda, because the meeting beared fruit.
The meeting.
In the meeting.
Beared fruit.
Even after that crusade, my friend Pastor Sarah reported me that many people came to the church afterwards, and they were transformed because I gave my whole testimony. The way I just do it, I don't have any problem. I don't have prayer problem taking my story.
The same way you've told us, yeah.
Yes, that is the thing, because I know I can help some people. I've helped many. Many people have been telling me, my son is going through this same problem. But you see, some people try to hide them.
It's true.
Literally, hiding them locking them in their homes. In their homes.
Yes, yes.
They don't want to come up and say that this is a problem that can be with any person.
It can be managed.
It can be managed.
Yes, and now that we have said that, we don't have much time. So I'd like us to conclude by, maybe you can tell us exactly what you feel God has done for you. Because as an evangelist, from where you've come from with the drugs, bipolar, until now, the man that you are with a stable, loving family, a ministry that's helping people rehabilitate, it's a complete turnaround,
Sure.
And someone who is watching is admiring and wishing, Akimimi, I wish Mungu ansaidia bibi, mtoto, and all these things, and to remove whatever diseases they may be having. So what would you like to leave our audience with? Some sort of encouragement. Imagine someone who is going through what you're going through. You can look at the camera.
Like to tell somebody who's listening. I know I'm being listened by people from outside the country and in the country. My brothers, my sisters, thank you. My sister Beatrice, she has been there for me for quite a long time. My wife has been there for me. And I want to speak directly to somebody who is taking drugs. Remember me, I just smoked bang for twice, marijuana, twice. And it brought me all this suffering. I would like to tell them to stop. Look for another way, and that is the way of life. Jesus is the way, He's the life, He's the truth. For the scenario I've just testified, I have this, I have noted this, that God's commands are best read by eyes full of tears. For the moment, I remember I asked God why. He took me to 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, where Paul, after he had a thorn in the flesh, he was told that my grace is sufficient for you. I remember how this grace had been sufficient for me, even into the such suffering, even for one whether God really exists. But all the same, I'm here.
You're here.
I'm okay, trusting God that He will take me to another level, and wishing somebody who is trying to struggle with addiction that Jesus is the way. That is the message I want to take to them. Even different addictions. There are so many kinds of addictions.
And mental illness.
Even mental illness, that is. And wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And if you would like to to reach me, my number is 0724 66 88 77. 0724 66 88 77. And I do some counseling. I'm a lay counselor. I can reach you with such services, and I do it for free.
Amazing. Did you hear that he does his counseling services for free? Don't leave that opportunity untapped. Make sure you reach the number he has shared with you. And trust me, I'm sure that there's a lot you can learn from this amazing man who's been through so much. But still, at the end of the day, he's here with a big smile, telling us his story and encouraging us about it. We have to thank God for that. Well, thank you so much for watching. This is my story with me, Joy Mochache. Let's meet up again for the next episode next time.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to views@look-up.tv. We can't wait to hear from you.